Good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. I have a special guest on because we have some kind of bombshelly kind of news here, folks. There's a guy running for Congress, and Kevin McCarthy is going all in on defeating him with the people. This is wild. If you thought Kevin McCarthy wasn't up to his old tricks and he was on the Trump train, you are so wrong on this. And he is actually trying to take out a Freedom Caucus member. He is on a full tirade against the Freedom Caucus, folks. But, folks, mypillow.com right now. This pillow is free. This is the With God. All things are possible. You put in promo code Lumberjack. It adds it to the cart immediately, in addition to the $25 extravaganza deals and the free shipping on orders over $75. Best promo code out there. mypillow.com/lumberjack or promo code Lumberjack. You can also call them at 800-568-2865. Jared, talk to us a little bit. I mean, we got this guy, Bob Good, is running a 95 Liberty score. You would think we'd want him in there. In addition, he's endorsed by the likes of people like Andy Biggs, Thomas Massey, Chip Roy, Dan Bishop, who have Liberty scores of 100. Yeah. I mean, can't get better Liberty scores. And Kevin McCarthy's trying to take this guy out by going – the guy, Bob Good's challenger, this out of the Washington Examiner, is accused of using deceased treasurer to authorize campaign finances, and he was just elected to the state Senate. So why is he all of a sudden, when he just gets elected to the state Senate, opposing Bob Good, who has such a strong Liberty score? Why wouldn't he fulfill his obligations in the state Senate? Tell us a little inside baseball. I know you're kind of privy to some of that going on in these races for Congress as you run for Congress in Washington's 5th.
Totally agree. Appreciate it. Yeah. And this is a big deal because Bob Good is one of the strongest people that we have in Congress. Every single American should be excited and should be protecting people like Bob Good to make sure that he stays in Congress. You know, people talk a lot about term limits and they talk about like, oh, the value of term limits. You know, the one of the negatives of term limits, which I'm a fan of it generally, is you also lose good people like Bob Good. And here we have Kevin McCarthy going after these conservative stalwarts, these people who really truly believe in the Constitution, want to defend it for us. Bob Good is the chair of the House Freedom Caucus, which is basically a group of some of the strongest, smartest, most conservative people in the country in Congress who really want to defend America. And I'll just tell you, this story is quite interesting because this John Maguire, who's running for the 5th seat against Bob Good, he is supported by some of the biggest rhinos in Congress. I mean, guys like Don Bacon, who has a 40% Liberty score, and Tony Gonzalez at 55%, and Austin Scott, and Ryan Zinke, who's at 52%, Jen Keegan's at 53%. So I mean, these are the type of people that we are frustrated with because they're voting with the Democrats half the time, and here we have him trying to take out Bob Good, who's one of the best conservatives, one of the best America First, true conservative patriots that we have in Congress. And I'm just going to say, I'm defending Bob Good, but it's not just because of his Liberty score. I know Bob Good personally, and it's been through the campaign process. And I'll tell you, as busy as these congressmen are, Bob Good was one of the guys that took personal time to meet with me as I've been going through this process of running for Congress. And we met at a cafe and in his district, and I sat with him for, I don't know, a good hour, maybe longer. And I have my son with me, and Bob is a tremendous guy. I mean, he asked me some questions about some of the big topics, and he really helped me to refine like the messaging on that. And I'll just tell you, in talking to him just personally, I'll say that what he told me was he didn't play the political game. He just told the people what he thought, what he believes in, what he stands for, and what he was going to do in Congress. And by virtue of that transparency, they voted him in. And Virginia's 5th district is 100% behind Bob Good, and they're not changing anytime soon, regardless of how much money, deep, dark, money comes in from McCarthy and his group. And I just want to be a voice to encourage people to support Bob Good, and especially the people in Virginia's 5th to vote for and send Bob Good back to Congress on your behalf, because he's doing a great job.
I find this all fascinating. You brought up Don Bacon, who's absolutely one of the worst down there in Nebraska, and Dan Fry is running against him at FREI. And people, if you're in Nebraska, you got to be supporting Bacon's opposition. We have this problem in the Republican Party where we have ruby red districts that are filled with complete rhino hacks.
Exactly.
And it's wild, because when you look at the blue districts, the deep blue districts, they always get the most ultra, like Ilhan Omar in Minnesota, Rashid Tlaib in Michigan, and so on. I could go down the line. But now you got Kevin McCarthy, because of his little personal vendetta, not about what's right for the country, attacking all these Freedom Caucus members, be it Matt Gaetz, be it Bob Good, be it whomever, because they had the audacity, the gall, to vote against him as Speaker of the House, even though he was an ineffectual and terrible speaker. But politics is such a dirty business, and
it is dirty.
All gets so personal.
The truth is they had the guts to stand up to the rhinos. I'm in a deep red district, and Dan Newhouse is our representative, and he votes. I think his Liberty score is like 47%, so he votes with the Democrats more than half of the time. That's terrible, especially in a day and age when the Democrats are literally anti-American in their stance, and it's terrible. And for this guy, John Maguire, who's running against Bob Good, evidently he submitted treasury reports close to a year, up to a year after his treasurer had died, and he was using this according to this article on
in fact, here I'm going to read just a little bit.
I mean, that's just terrible integrity. Like, you can't do stuff like that. You have to be on point with these treasury reports. That's just not good at all.
So here's the thing, reading from this article, the Republican candidates seeking to oust Freedom Caucus Chairman Bob Good, Republican Virginia, could face an investigation over allegations he listed a deceased person as his campaign treasurer to approve finance reports. In a letter sent to U.S. Attorney Jessica Aber last week, John Maguire is accused of making serious financial discrepancies in previous campaigns for the state legislature as well as for Congress. This letter specifically cites reports from Maguire's run for Virginia's House of Delegates in 2021 that showed the candidate's fundraising arm, Friends of John Maguire, listing David Matthew Clemens as the campaign treasurer, even after his death in October of that year.
Yeah.
So this is not the kind of person we want in U.S. Congress. These are the same problems we have right now. We're trying to vote those problems out, not invite more of them in. And so, Clemens was appointed treasurer on July 26, 2021, according to the group's statement of organization, and was tasked with authorizing expenditures reports in that position. Yeah. He died on October 10th of 2021. So he died that very year, triggering a state law requiring the campaign to designate a new treasurer within 10 days. So the law is a new treasurer within 10 days, and they're still using him on the reports.
What's interesting about it is the ink hadn't even dried on this the state Senate race that he ran in and won before he announced that he was running against Bob Good for Congress. And then what's even questionable beyond that is that some of the folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene, for example, who endorsed him for state Senate, if you look at his campaign materials and the way he presents it, it's like he's taking some of those endorsements that were for a different race and using them, for this congressional race to try to make himself look more conservative than he is. Look, we just cannot have this. The American people cannot stand up for this anymore. We need just regular people like me and like Bob Good and Andy Biggs and Chip Roy and Michael Cloud and all these kind of people who are just going to go and fight for America. They're not going to use the position to somehow further themselves. They're just there to do the job that they're actually elected to do. So I just want to encourage people in Virginia, especially Virginia's 5th, to support Bob Good. He is the kind of people that we need in Washington, D.C. And the last thing he needs is some ridiculous challenge from within his district from somebody who's not going to be as good of a representative as he is.
Here's the thing on all of that. Look, you hear a name like Chip Roy and they're like, well, Chip Roy, he liked Ron DeSantis. Here's the thing on all of that, people. Early on in a primary season, you have the right to support whomever you want. Okay, that's a reality. But once the thing is decided, right? You have to get behind that endorsed candidate, unless they're a Democrat that's running as a Republican. Okay, that's the reality, and that does happen. But here's the thing: all these people have gotten behind President Trump once he was the endorsed candidate. They may have had differing opinions. That's okay. You know, the great thing about this system is we have the ability to select our candidate, and every candidate should have to justify whether or not they're running. But a late in the game challenge like this, that's what's happening in your race too, Jared. I mean, let's not forget, you got this late, what's her name? Now I'm forgetting her name. What do you
Tiffany
know?
Smiley.
Yes, Smiley running a late in the game challenge just like this, because what they don't want is they don't want more America First candidates. And oddly enough, it seems Kevin McCarthy gets wrapped up in all of this stuff. But folks, we just want to get this information out to you because it's important news. Remember, go check out My Pillow. Go get yourself one of these free travel pillows. They are the absolute best. And you get it free, added to your cart with promo code Lumberjack at mypillow.com. Thanks so much for listening to
pillow.
That
particular pillow is really cool because it's a travel. That's one of those travel pillows, isn't it? Like folds up into itself.
Oh yeah, no, this thing
is pretty awesome. And
you roll it up, and it's like it gets this small, man. It's just incredible. That's super cool. I love these things. We take them.
Yeah, also, if people want to support my campaign, they can go to jaredforcongress.com. I very much appreciate it. I'm definitely running against one of the biggest rhinos in Congress, and because I basically had him beat with Trump's endorsement and with the state party endorsement, many county endorsements, General Flynn's endorsement, Roger Stone's endorsement, he pulled out the white flag, and now we have this Tiffany Smiley who just entered the race during the week of filing. She came in the race, and she's got all kinds of excuses for why she's doing it, but any help anybody can give for that campaign is awesome. But really today we're just here to support Bob Good and make sure he gets reelected.
JaredForCongress.com, folks. And it's JERROD.
Just like all right.
Yeah, so when I say your name into Siri to call you, it's Jared doesn't work. Gerard is what
that's my English. That's my English accent.
All right. Thanks for listening, folks. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace out.